The Senate has just made a move that could keep the government from shutting down in a few days. They have just overwhelmingly voted to begin working on a bipartisan continuing resolution deal that would temporarily keep the government open until November 17th. Now, this bill would keep all the current funding levels for all government agencies and departments status quo, but would also include about $6 billion in additional money for Ukraine. $4.5 billion of that goes to our own Defense Department, and includes an additional $6 billion for FEMA to address natural disasters like the wildfires in Maui, flooding in Vermont, and hurricane damage in Florida. The plan would also extend FAA programs that are set to expire on October 1st. Now, there is a long way to go between today's vote and a final vote to actually pass this bill. In order for this continuing resolution to be passed in the Senate before the government shuts down on October 1st, it has to have the support of all 100 senators to fast track it. Because of Senate rules, if one senator objects, the bill has to go through the regular voting procedures, which will stretch it out well past the shutdown deadline. Senator Rand Paul has already said he will do all he can to slow this bill down. Now, if somehow this continuing resolution can pass the Senate before the government shuts down, it sets up a major showdown with the House. Now, while House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has said repeatedly he wants the government to stay open, he also wants to make sure any bill that passes the House includes all the very conservative priorities he promised to his far-right members, including strict new border policies and no funding for Ukraine. Now, this Senate bill is the opposite of that. Regardless of what happens now in the Senate, tonight the House is planning to vote on 4 long-term spending bills for the Defense, Agriculture, and State Departments, as well as Homeland Security. But even if those pass, none of them will prevent the government from shutting down. At this point, time is running out. If there is no deal between the House and the Senate that's signed by the president by this Saturday, September 30th, the government will shut down at midnight.